Halo, it's Jang here with a look at the Mega Bloks Halo UNSC Attack Gausshog, or Gausshog, however you want to pronounce it. Set comes with 229 pieces, and it includes a new variant of the Master Chief, as well as an all-new Arbiter figure. Chief gets the same 343 era molds of his Mark 6 armor as before, but he gets this new cracked visor, updating him a little bit, and this is also the darkest version appropriately enough, of the Master Chief that we've gotten to date, even darker than the one that came with the RC Mantis set, which was already pretty darn dark, but this is just another shade further in that direction. There's also a little bit of very super subtle mottling around the front of the chest armor there, with just a little bit of extra metallic flake in there that appears to be applied by hand. I think I can see a little bit of it around the front of the boots as well. It's very subtle, but I think it's trying to show that he's even more battle worn than ever. But beyond those things, he's pretty much the same as you've seen previously. The new clan leader Arbiter is it's going to take some getting used to. I think that I will get used to it, especially once Halo 5 comes out, but man, what a change with the headdress, especially as viewed from the front. That's just a really tough pill to swallow for me. But as it comes around to the side, you see some more familiar cues, and I really like how that's just so deeply molded back here on the back, all those individual pieces. I mean, here it's all part of one piece of plastic, but in the armor set, it's individual pieces that flex separately. There are actually two different colors of gold included on this figure. One color of gold is used for all of the armor add-on pieces, as well as the lower legs and also the helmet and the headgear. But if you look at that right lower arm right here, that's actually paint on top of a black or a dark gray plastic. And I like that gold a little bit better. It's a little bit more metallic. It looks a little less plasticky than the rest. I wish they had gotten that kind of look for the rest, especially for the headdress. Now, obviously this is the newer, more highly articulated version of an Elite, so you've got the 3 segments to the legs. You can also remove all the armor, and you can also remove the headdress itself, or the helmet, I guess, and just see him just plain underneath there with a hole on the top of his head to accommodate this. But this is the part that I have the most trouble with here from the front. But everything else on the figure, like I said, I definitely feel I will get used to pretty quickly. Now, this Warthog is an evolutionary update to the platform. Slight differences in build for this one compared to the last and the last before that and such. You can see that there's a little more ground clearance in the back. They've actually angled those suspension struts a little bit more steep this time around. And it's not using the old yellow color, the slightly orangish yellow. It's actually using gold. So that is the exact same color that's used in the pieces on the Arbiter. This is a printed gold on the side here. Speaking of printing, no stickers in this set. No stickers whatsoever. So you've got printing on either side, separate different pieces. This black stripe is a print going through each of those slope pieces. The UNSC logo is also a print. And speaking of the suspension arms on this, that's done a little bit different than before. I think you can see it best from roughly this angle. There's a little leaf spring down in there, a new piece that they've brought in to give you actual suspension action. And rather than using the free-flowing, easy-moving pins, they've actually used friction pins that aren't going to allow those arms to just drop down like they did on the old versions. And so you've got friction in there to absorb shock, and then you've got this little plastic spring, so you still have suspension action, but it's a lot tighter this time, and it's not so sloppy and loose as some of the older versions were. And that works at all corners. You just kind of have to push a little bit harder with it, but it does still work. I wish they had gotten it just a little bit lower in the back, but I appreciate the progression with the engineering and the design. I think the cannon looks about as good as it can. A bunch of reused pieces here, but well scaled to the figures to allow them to actually work and to actually hold the handles and still to fit into place, still be able to get your figures in and out of the cab section. I really like this little piece in gold right here. This is looking pretty good to me. And of course, it's able to swivel up and down, and the whole platform can turn around as well. The whole thing is on a swivel. However, I'm trying not to show you this other issue just yet, but this is supposed to be able to turn around. However, you see how this is trying to twist off to the side, because on the strut that's holding the whole thing up, there's a limited amount of friction, just one little peg in there. So if you don't get a piece that happens to have just a little bit of a ridge around the end, because of the weight of this entire structure off on one side, it does tend to want to pull it down. So if you have the entire thing down low, where this is now at kind of a low angle, it's easier for this to fall over. However, if you stand it up more straight, then there's not as much leverage on it, or you don't get as much mechanical advantage from this pulling down. Just a little engineering quirk, and can make it a little bit frustrating for some poses without a figure on there. You put a figure on there and it's going to hold on to the hand. Another thing that's slightly updated here is the interior, with a fancier look for the color of the seats, and just fits the figures a little bit more easily because they've used these panel pieces that give you a little bit of extra room in between. Of course, I had to pull out the old rare Gausshog because it's just so close to this new set in its color scheme, what it's based on, and basically they're doing a tribute to the same stuff, the same material here. They've just updated the new version to go with what the figures would look like in Halo 5, and it remains to be seen if we'll actually get this kind of action again with the Chief and the Arbiter actually teaming up in Halo 5 for one last time. That would be really interesting to see. But yeah, these look pretty good against each other, but a number of years between them, very different figures, of course, especially with the Arbiter, and the old one just looks so small. The old Arbiter figure looks so small compared to the new. Oh yeah, and then in terms of suspension, the old compared to the new. Yeah, definite improvement. The set is a must-have for collectors. That just goes without saying because of the figures. I think the Warthog is also a great model to get just to collect, to display. Also has good play value as long as you can get around the quirks of those couple of pieces that don't interact very well on the stand for the cannon itself, or the Gauss cannon. That can get annoying if you're playing around with the thing, moving it around, and you don't have a figure on it. Otherwise, good progression on the Hog as a toy and a model, and a great way to finally be able to get this color scheme without paying buku crazy prices for the old PAX exclusive one. So that's it for my look at this set. Please share what you think about this set, just your own personal honest opinions, by leaving a comment down below. I always appreciate the feedback from the community, and I hope that you'll stick around to check out more of my videos, because more are on the way very soon.